better. Getting better. Chapter 7. From the very first moment we'd met Morty, he'd kept emitting sudden yodels in keeping with our venture. This was a simple yodel-hee, but it came at the oddest moments and in oddest circumstances, like several times when his Chinese and German friends were still around, then later in the car, sitting with us enclosed, yodel-hee, and then as we got out of the car to go in the bar, yodel-hee. Now as Jaffe woke up and saw it was dawn and jumped out of the bag and ran to gather firewood and shudder over a little preliminary fire, Morley woke up from his nervous small sleep of dawn, yawned, and yelled, "Yodel-hee!" which echoed toward vales in the distance. I got up too. It was all we could do to hold together. The only thing to do was hop around and flap your arms like me and my sad bum on the south coast. But soon Jaffe got more logs on the fire, and it was a roaring bonfire that we turned our backs to after a while and yelled and talked. A beautiful morning. Red, pristine shafts of sunlight coming in over the hill and slanting down into the cold trees like a cathedral light, and the mist rising to meet the sun, and all the way around the giant secret roar of tumbling creeks, probably with films of ice in the pools. Great fishing country. Pretty soon I was yelling, "Yodel-hee!" myself, but when Jaffe went to fetch more wood and we couldn't see him for a while and Morley yelled, "Yodel-hee!" Jaffe answered back with a simple "hoo," which he said was the Indian way to call in the mountains and much nicer. So I began to yell "hoo" myself. Then we got in the car and started off. We ate the bread and cheese. No difference between the Morley of this morning and the Morley of last night, except his voice as he rattled on yakking in the cultured, snide, funny way of his was sort of cute with that morning freshness, like the way people's voices sound after getting up early in the morning. Something faintly wistful and hoarse and eager in it, ready for a new day. Soon the sun was warm, the black bread was good, and it had been baked by Sean Monahan's wife. Sean, who had a shack in Corte Madera, we could all go live in free of rent someday. The cheese was sharp cheddar. It didn't satisfy me much, and when we got out into the country with no more houses than anything, I began to yearn for a good old hot breakfast, and suddenly after we'd gone over a little creek bridge, we saw a merry little lodge by the side of the road under tremendous juniper trees, with smoke boiling out of the chimney and neon signs outside, and a sign in the window advertising pancakes and hot coffee. "Let's go in there. By God, we need a man's breakfast if we're going to climb all day." Nobody complained about my idea, and we went in and sat at boots, and a nice woman took our orders with that cheery loquaciousness of people in the back country. "Well, you boys going hunting this morning?" "No," said Jaffe, "just climbing Matterhorn." "Matterhorn? Why, I wouldn't do that if somebody paid me $1,000. Meanwhile, I went out to the log johns out back and washed from the water in the tap, which was delightfully cold and made my face tingle. Then I drank some of it, and it was like cool liquid ice in my stomach and sat there real nice, and I had more. Shaggy dogs were barking in the golden red sunlight, slanting down from the 100-foot branches of the firs and ponderosas. I could see snow-capped mountains glittering in the distance. One of them was Matterhorn. I went in and the pancakes were ready, hot and steaming, and poured syrup over my 3 pats of butter and cut them up and slurped hot coffee and ate. So did Henry and Jaffe. For once, no conversation. Then we washed it all down with that incomparable cold water as hunters came in hunting boots with wool shirts, but no giddy drunk hunters, but serious hunters ready to go out there after breakfast. There was a bar adjoining, but nobody cared about alcohol this morning. We got in the car, crossed another creek bridge, crossed the meadow with a few cows and log cabins, and came out on a plain which clearly showed Matterhorn rising the highest, most awful looking of the jagged peaks to the south. "There she is," said Morley, really proud. "Isn't it beautiful? Doesn't it remind you of the Alps?" I've got a collection of snow-covered mountain photos you should see sometime. I like the real thing myself, said JP, looking seriously at the mountains, and in that far-off look in his eyes, that secret self-sigh I saw he was back home again. Bridgeport is a little sleepy town, curiously New England-like, on that plain. 2 restaurants, 2 gas stations, a school, all sidewalking Highway 395 as it comes through there running from down Bishop Way up to Carson City, Nevada.